Welcome to this webinar for personnel development to improve services and results for children with disabilities. Preparation of related services personnel serving children with disabilities who have high intensity needs. Assistant listing number ARN 84.325R. This is the applicant orientation for FY 2023. Next. Then a note regarding this webinar. This information that we are about to present has been summarized due to the logistics of this webinar and is for guidance only. Please read the entire notice inviting applications, the instruction, and all related statutes, regulations, and references. Also, for additional information related to submitting an application, please review the recorded webinar titled Applying for the Office of Special Education Programs Discretionary Grants. Next. The NIA notice for announcement published in the Federal Register was on May 10th, 2023. And applications are due no later than 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time on June 29th, 2023. So the deadline for this application, again, is on June 29th, 2023. Next. In the application package, it contains a Dear Applicant letter, the notice inviting applications, the Federal Register notice, and the grants.gov system submission procedures and tips for application. The priority description and the selection criteria, general information, and required forms. The required forms can be found on grants.gov 84.325R listing. Next. The CFDA 84.325R is under the personnel development to improve services and results for children with disabilities. Preparation of related services personnel serving children with disabilities who have high intensity needs. The purpose for this competition is to help address state-identified needs for personal preparation, special education, and early intervention related services and regular education to work with children, including infants, toddlers, and youth with disabilities. And secondly, it ensures that these personnel have the necessary skills and knowledge derived from practices that have been determined through scientifically based research and to be successful in serving these children. The amount for the award in FY23 is $6.75 million, and 27 awards are expected to be funded. Next. Changes from the previous year for this competition is that applications that propose to prepare only related services personnel are now eligible under this priority, 84.325R, instead of the 84.325K competition. This is only for the related services personnel preparation. Minority serving institutions can apply under the 325M priority. If you are from a minority serving institution and want to apply for both 325R and 325M, you will need to submit a separate application for each priority. FY 23-325R competition will fund high-quality projects at bachelor's degree, certification, master's degree, or educational specialist degree levels. There is no requirement for applicants to propose an interdisciplinary project for FY 23-325R grant, the related services competition. However, projects can propose an interdisciplinary project with 2 or more related services programs. Next. Departmental priority. A high priority for this department is to increase the number of personnel, including increasing the number of multilingual personnel and personnel from racially and ethnically diverse backgrounds who provide services to children with disabilities. Next. The absolute priority for this competition is the preparation of related services personnel serving children with disabilities who have high intensity needs. The department will fund high quality projects that prepare early intervention, special education personnel at the bachelor's degree, certification, master's degree, or educational specialist degree levels. This is for the preparation of related services personnel only. If you want to do special education or early intervention, you will need to apply for the 325K competition. Next. Absolute priority, important definition. For the purposes of this priority, related services includes the following: speech language pathology and audiology services, interpreting services, psychological services, applied behavior analysis, physical and occupational therapy, recreation, including therapeutic therapy, social work services, counseling services, including rehabilitation counseling, and orientation and mobility services. Next. For the purposes of this priority, high intensity needs refers to a complex array of disabilities or the needs of children with these disabilities requiring intensive, individualized interventions, which includes the following: multiple disabilities, significant cognitive disabilities, significant physical disabilities, significant sensory disabilities, significant autism, and significant emotional disabilities, or significant learning disabilities, including dyslexia. Next. For the purpose of this priority, certification refers to programs of study that lead to state licensure, endorsement, or certification that qualifies graduates to teach or provide services to children with disabilities. Programs of study that lead to certification of completion from the institution of higher education, but do not lead to state licensure, endorsement, or certification do not qualify. Next. Competitive preference priority points, 0 or up to 3 points. Under this priority, an applicant must demonstrate that the applicant, which involves the IHE, which is institutions of higher ed, has not had an active discretionary grant under the program from which it seeks funds in the last 5 years before the deadline date for the submission of applications under the 84.325K program. In other words, if you have to apply for, if you've been funded before in this program, the 325K program, you will not be considered a novice applicant. Okay, for the purpose of this priority, a grant is active until the end of the grant project or funding period, including any extensions of these periods that extend the grantee's authority to obligate funds. Next. Eligibility. Eligible applicants are institutions of higher education and private, nonprofit organizations. Next. Focus areas. There are 2 focus areas. Focus area A is preparing related services personnel to serve infants, toddlers, and preschool-age children with disabilities who have high-intensity needs. Focus area B is preparing related services personnel to serve school-aged children with disabilities who have high-intensity needs. Remember, 2 areas: infant, toddlers, and preschool-age children. And the other area, B, is serving school-age children with disabilities. And there's a note saying that OSEP may fund out of rank order high-quality applications to ensure that projects are funded across both focus area A and focus area B. Next. Scholars. What are they? They are identified as enrolled in a degree or certification program that leads to a state certification licensure endorsement needed to serve IDA eligible children with disabilities. Scholars are not those individuals pursuing degrees in general education or early childhood education. Scholars are individuals who will be able to be employed in a position that serves children with disabilities for a minimum of 51% of their time or caseload. Scholars are required to be able to fulfill service obligation requirements. You may look for more information. You can check out the link is pdp.ed.gov/OSEP/home/regulatory FAQs. It will be shown in the PowerPoint document as well. Next, award information. Awards are for a maximum of $250,000 per year for 5 years. Applicants may use up to the first 12 months of the performance period and up to $100,000 of the first budget period for planning. 65% or more of the total award must be used for scholar support over 5 years. Applicants proposing to use year one for program development must ensure that 65% of the total award minus funds allocated for the program development will be used for scholar support. Next. What does scholar support mean? Scholar support does not need to be uniform for all scholars and should be customized for individual scholars based on scholars' financial needs, including consideration of all costs associated with the cost of attendance, even if that means enrolling fewer scholars in the program. Scholar support can include support for the cost of attendance, example, tuition and fees, university student health insurance, an allowance for books, materials, and supplies, an allowance for miscellaneous personal expenses, an allowance for dependent care, such as childcare, or an allowance for room and board. Scholar support can include travel in conjunction with training assignments, including conference registration and stipends to support scholars' completion of the program. Scholar support had projection for scholar support should consider tuition increases and cost of living increases over the project period. Next. Competition information, application narrative and selection criteria, project assurances, and general requirements. Next. Application narrative and selection requirement includes 5 sections of the competition. Significance of the project is worth 10 points. Second, quality of project services, 35 points. Quality of project personnel and quality of the management plan, 20 points. Adequacy of resources, 20 points. Quality of project evaluation, worth 15 points. Next. Significance of the project is worth 10 points, up to 10 points. In determining the significance of the proposed project, the Secretary considers the following information, the following factors. How the proposed project will address the need in proposed preparation focused area to prepare related services personnel who are fairly qualified to serve children with disabilities who have high intensity needs. Second, the proposed project will increase the number of related services personnel in the proposed preparation focused area. And Third, the applicant has successfully graduated students in their program, including students with disabilities, multilingual students, and students who are from racially, ethnically diverse backgrounds, including data that aggregated by disability, status, race, national origin, and primary languages, and the number of students who have graduated in the 5 years. Next, the quality of project services is from up to 35 points. In determining the quality of project services, the Secretary of Education considers the following factors. How? Number one, the project will conduct its planning activities. If the applicant will use any of the allowable first 12 months of the project period for planning. Two, the project will recruit and retain scholars. The extent to which the training or professional development services to be provided by the proposed project are sufficient quality, intensity, and duration to lead to improvements in practice among the recipients of those services. And third, the project will be designed to promote the acquisition of the competencies needed by related services personnel to support improved outcomes for children with disabilities with high intensity needs. Next, quality of project services. Again, notes applicants should engage in a focused outreach and recruitment to increase the number of applicants from groups that are traditionally underrepresented in the field, including applicants with disabilities, multilingual applicants, and applicants from racial and ethnic diversity backgrounds. But the selection criteria the applicant intends to use must ensure equal access and treatment of all applicants seeking admission to the program and must be consistent with the applicable law, including federal civil rights law. Next. The quality of project personnel and management plan. In determining the quality of the project personnel and the quality of the management plan, the Secretary considers the following factors. How? Number one, the project directors and the other key project personnel are qualified to prepare scholars in the project preparation focused area. Two, the project director and other key project personnel will manage the components of the project, and how the time commitment of the project director and other key project personnel are adequate to meet the objectives of the proposed project. Next. Adequacy of resources, up to 20 points. The Secretary considers the following factors. How? Information regarding the types of accommodation and resources available to fully support scholars' well-being and a work-life balance. Example, university and community health, mental health supports, counseling services, health resources, housing resources, child care. It will be disseminated. How would this be disseminated? And how the project would support scholars to access these accommodations and resources on a timely basis, if needed, while the scholar is in the program. Number two, the types of accommodations and resources provided to support scholars' well-being and a work-life balance will be individualized based on the scholars' cultural, academic, and social emotional needs, with the goal of supporting them to complete the program, and how the budget is adequate for meeting the project objectives and mitigating financial burden to the scholars in completing the program of study. Next. Quality of project evaluation, up to 15 points. This involves how the applicant will, two things, evaluate how the goals and objectives of the proposed project have been met. The adequacy of support, including facilities, equipment, supplies, and other resources from the applicant organization or the lead applicant organization, and how the applicant will collect, analyze, and use data on scholars supported by the project to inform the project on an ongoing basis. Next. Required project assurances. The project will meet the requirement in 34 CFR 304.23, particularly those related to 1, informing all scholarship recipients of their service obligation commitment, and 2, dispersing scholarships. The project will be required to provide an assurance that all of the syllabi for the project's required coursework will be provided if requested by OSEP. Third, meet the statutory requirements in Section 662E through H of IDEA. Next. Required project assurances, continuing. At least 65% of the total budget will be used for scholar support. Ensure that scholar support costs, for example, tuition, stipend, are scholarship assistance and are not financial assistance based on the condition that the scholar works for the grantee, for example, as a graduate assistant. It has to be scholarship assistant, not financial assistant. Ensure that a revised project budget will be submitted should the project not be able to recruit and enroll the proposed number of scholars that can graduate from the program by the end of the project period. Next. Another requirement is for a budget. For project assurance, is the budget for attendance at the project directors meeting. Participation in cross-project collaboration, advanced trainings, and cross-site learning opportunities. Also, accessible websites. Assure that there will be annual data reporting as scholars. Next. The general requirement for under this competition, recipients of funding under this competition must make positive efforts to employ and advance in employment qualified individuals with disabilities. See Section 606 of IDEA regulation. 2, each applicant for and recipient of funding under this program must involve individuals with disabilities or parents of individuals with disabilities, ages birth to 26, in planning, implementing, and evaluating the project. See Section 682A1A of IDA regulation. Third, applicants must describe steps to ensure equitable access to and participation in its program for students, teachers, and other program beneficiaries with special needs. See Section 427 CEPA. Next. Submission information. Application submission tips, and eligible application tips. General requirement. I'm sorry. Applications must be submitted electronically using grant.gov. Applications may not be submitted through email. You may not submit your application through email. And again, it must be submitted electronically using grant.gov. Applications must be submitted no later than 11:59 p.m., meaning before 12 midnight Eastern Time on June 29, 2023. Application narrative section and all other attachments to the application must be uploaded as a PDF, read-only, non-modifiable format, preferred or Microsoft Word file. Next. Submission tips. It's important that you register early. Grant.gov may take 5 or more business days to complete. Be sure that the registration with the System for Award Management, SAM, S-A-M, is current. SAM registration may take several weeks to be activated. So you need to do that early, very important. If you need assistance with SAM registration, please contact the customer service. The phone number is 855-706-5687. Again, it's important to submit early. Don't wait until the last day to submit your application. Grant.gov will put a date, time stamp on the application and then process it after it's fully uploaded. Verified submission is okay. Verify that grant.gov has received your submission on time and that it was validated successfully. Next. Application tips. One tip is to have maximized funding levels for each grant. Make sure it's noted in the notice. Notice the maximum funding. Do not go over the maximum amount. Recommended organization, page limits, spacing, and font sizes facilitate the application review process. Another tip is to read only non-modifiable PDF files, facilitate the consolidating of application elements and review process. Read carefully. Grant.gov submission procedures and tips for applicants found in Section B of the application package. That makes sure you're able to upload these sections of the PDF files into grant.gov. Very important. Take the time to make sure all of this takes place. Next. Okay, ineligible application. Duplicate applications are not eligible. Applications received after the deadline of June 29th, 2023, after midnight Eastern Time, are not eligible. And applications that do not address the public priority are not eligible. Next. The following are the helpful resources that you can use in submitting your application. Look at the notice inviting the application package. Watch the pre-application webinar. Read the FAQs document. Review the brochure on 84.23R competition, the latest services personnel preparation. And then also you can look at the OSEP discretionary grant database for more information on how the grants are written or funded grants. Next. Further information. If you would like more information about this competition, you may contact me. My email address is louise.tripoli, LOUISE T as in Tom, RIP as in Paul, OLI @ed.gov. The phone number is 202-245-7554. The recording of this pre-application webinar recording can be found at this website, www.ed.gov/fund/grant apply/OSEP/new OSEP grant HTML. Next. I think that's the end of it. Thank you very much for listening to this webinar, and I wish you lots of luck with your applying. Have a good day. Bye-bye.